China has basically co-opted all of Jamaica. They basically own Jamaica at this point. You know, a lot of people ain't figured that out yet, or they ain't talking that. But the reality is they own Jamaica, and the reality is they got it cheap too. You know, they basically let them come in there, and just they basically co-opted the place. Instead of them reaching out, they could have worked something out with FBA. There's enough money circulating in the community where something could have been worked out.
Well, Project Leroy saying, they got a nation and an army. We ain't backed by nothing.
Right. That's true. They would have had to they would have had to extend citizenship before we came over there investing. Because she's right. If they don't extend that, they can eliminate you at any time. You know,
but even if they do, then we stuck there. America ain't letting you come back. They're gonna look at you as a traitor.
Well, you can have dual citizenship. You can have dual citizenship. It doesn't mean you forfeit in America, though. You know, it's possible. Some maybe could be.
I'm just saying, there's a group of us saying we about to take all of our resources and take it to another country. Let's see how that goes. Didn't we try this before, y'all? People get deleted trying with these ideas.
Yeah, I didn't say it would be easy. It would definitely be pushback. They don't want a true black coalition coming together like that, and they don't want any more black messiahs.
Well, look at Liberia.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you guys saw how they even treated us, even with the was it a hurricane that happened or whatever, and all that stuff was going on, and they were complaining about us being there and told us don't vacation. We don't want you to come here for tourism. Don't come back to Jamaica and all that. So that was kind of like, okay. But back to what Gavin was saying, we could go down there with the NFAC, the Not Effing Around Coalition, and we can get some stuff popping. Okay. Mark can set up the schools, all that.
You can't make this shit up.
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
I like her energy.
Sister Ebony. Listen, y'all don't get it. I was on that crazy train like a mother.
Listen, you need nuclear threats. You need nuclear threats. You can't
like
have
her energy, but she's on the verge of causing an international incident. So you know, be careful with that.
They ain't scared of 9mm or ARs. You need something bigger. You need a bigger threat.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Not Effing Around Coalition. They gone. Y'all know all of them incarcerated. Dang near. That was a debacle. Yeah, but shout out to
it wasn't organized right. You know, I like the idea and the grind.
Yes.
If you really put something together, you got to be solid top to bottom because they looking to take it down.
You gotta have your paperwork in order, brother Lex. Like the movement was dope. I was hyped. Like that was like my Black Panthers, if you will, man. We was hyped, but none of them had paperwork. Then Johnny Law was walking around just writing them all up. They was having their gatherings.
Well, the hell with paperwork. What none of them prepared to meet Jesus. They wasn't prepared to meet the Maker. So if you ain't where you at, Leon? If you ain't prepared to meet your Maker, you need not put them boots on and start marching unless you ready to meet Jesus, or else you playing.
That's Ebony Dean. I know that's when I lost all hope. Whenever they were supposed to march on was that something Downs? Was that
it was the Blue Mountain or the Blue something not what's that mountain?
Dog race, the horse race. Y'all, the something Downs.
Okay.
But they're supposed to go in that big horse race and shut it down. And they went, and then the National Guard came in front of the entrance. And that was supposed to be it. Me and Miss X in his backyard watching. It's supposed to be D-Day. And they sat there and they just turned away. And I was like, it's over. It was over. Stone, I forget, what's that racetrack out there? Come on now.
Well, they were doing Churchill. I think it was Churchill Downs.
Churchill Downs. There we go. Churchill Downs. That big old race. And that was dope. They said, we're going to come. Why y'all doing y'all fancy horse race with all these millions circulating? We coming in and disrupting. I said, there we go. And then they bought the military and they shut up.
Yeah. And I think the biggest red flag for me was how they were having you fill out all your paperwork and you had to put, give them your social and all that. And it's basically just telling on yourself because you guys are trying to pull up to not be effing around. but then you know where I stay, and you know I got all this artillery, and yeah, this is all bad, and then it went downhill from there.
Listen, the revolution will not be televised. So that's the real thing. They were saying for weeks leading up to the race what they were going to do. The revolution will not be televised. This got to be done behind closed doors, and then you just show up ready to meet Jesus. You don't tell people for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks what you about to do, and then they prepared.
With the National freaking Guard.
Do anything.
Yeah, you know. Well,
no,
man, it wasn't organized, man, right? And then, like you said, if you ain't gonna really, like you said, they ain't effing around, but when it came to it, they was effing around.
See,
come on, man, like they wasn't serious about it like that. Yeah. No, you can't compare it to the Panthers, man. The Panthers was the truth.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, I don't mean no disrespect to the Panthers.
Liberation Army, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
this is a different time. It's a different time right now.
All right. Just like E the Man, he funded by the elite and they sent him up here. All right. I see you in the chat. You had first thing, I guess we'll start here. I see you was talking about reparations. All right. What's your thing? Do you not believe in it?
I think we all believe in the boogeyman. I don't think we'll see him, but we believe in it. I think when you start having a conversation about reparations, let's just say FBA get $1 million, we're talking $49 trillion. I don't think people understand how big a trillion is. We talk about them giving away billions, but we typically don't hear about trillion, especially 49 trillion. So listen, write the check. I'm going to cash it. Let's be clear. You write the check, go clash it, Mr. Walker, but I'm building my life on something that I can tangibly get.
I like that. Okay, Edom, I thought you'd come here with chaos like you usually do. I agree with you, Edom, man. I agree. Yeah, but yeah, shout out to Sister Ebony Dean. I don't know what role we play in getting reparations, but I want to play that role, whatever that is.
I got a question based around that, what he just said about reparations. And then along with the same line with this Austin Holloman attracting Black people from America that go to Africa. People do that, go to Africa, right? From America, Blacks from America, FBAs, go to Africa, all right? And then by some miracle in 2026, they pass a reparation bill. Will those people in Africa that left the U.S. be eligible? Or would that be some of the disqualification?
You already know the answer, Richard. They're going to find any and every way to disqualify you. So you know the answer. They don't want to give it to us now. So they definitely going to find ways to disqualify you. If you are not in the States, the day they decide to give reparations, you disqualify instantly.
I think it's the smart Black people because, if I was in Africa, if I was in Ubawe, I'm buying my ticket. The day I see it go down my feed, I'm going back to mama's house. Mama, make sure my mailing address is your house in case they decide to give us a little reparations. But, this is crazy people talk about leaving the country. Like,
you're going to go cash your reparations check.
As long as somebody in the family got it, Mr. Walker. Hey, listen. We'll be out.
You don't qualify for your reparations no more.
What you think, Ebony Dean?
Well, I think personally, what I think is you would still qualify. You need to have your paperwork and you need to be able to take it to that reparation office. So you better make sure that Trump doesn't have the traveling tariffs and all that. We know how things are going down. You need to make sure you're able to get back because it is inevitable and it will happen. And I do agree with E the Man when he said that he's not banking on that. Like, we obviously are doing things in our own right, but that money is still owed to us and we will still fight for it. But you will qualify. You got to have that paperwork and you need to be able to take it to that reparations office. Here's my thing. We were talking about like making sure that the president is going to, give us our reparations, and just with the Holocaust and the Japanese people with the internment camps and all that, Congress voted for them to get reparations. There was no presidential vote for it. They didn't have to do a petition like they did us, asking Americans if we should get it or not. There was none of that. So to hell with the petitions. give us our money, because you didn't have to do that for nobody else, and you don't need to do it for us. Reparations will happen. Since we have decided to delineate and define who we are, being foundational Black Americans. I don't know if you guys have noticed, just things have changed around with the country. They are recognizing that we are foundational Black Americans. They are calling out different groups of people who do things, because trust and believe, if before we started calling ourselves FBA, all that Somalia stuff that happened, that would have been Black people taking $9 million and not defining who we are. We're specifying who we are. And now the world is recognizing, they're looking into people's paperwork. If you guys are on X and stuff, Elon Musk has even made all the accounts. You have to tell what country you're from. So all these people talking about the gender wars and we hate Black men and we hate Black women and all that, they're from other countries in Europe, Africa, the Caribbean, Asia, having all this hate for us, and y'all ain't even in here. So how are you going to hate us when you can't even get in? So we need to look into that type of stuff. We're putting a stamp on who we are. We're calling out the people who are trying to divide us and everything. And we're just focused on our business, our FBA business. And we can get back to the coalition and all that stuff. Right now, we need people to ride for us, and whoever will, but whoever doesn't. And we don't really care either way. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon.
So is it the one drop rule? So like say, I know Mr. Walker, he looked like some Irish man got in that bloodline at some point in time. So
That's facts. Some
I know.
17% Irish. You right?
I know, man. Listen, I pay attention. So what I'm saying is, so do he get only 83% of his check, or he
Are you
still get
hating
100?
me? Now you
I'm
hating
just
me.
asking the question.
Listen, all it takes is just for you to have one person or one parent who's FBA. So if you have a parent who is FBA and the other parent is Jamaican, you are still FBA and you still qualify. And the number is 250,000 per FBA. So that is the number. I think it ends up being $20 trillion, which this country has, because you have all this money to trick off to everybody else. Run us our money, because we are owed to it. We built this whole country, and that's what needs to come to us. And if y'all would have paid it when you were supposed to, back when you promised it to us, it wouldn't be that. But inflation, we put our stamp and our taxes on it and all that. This country was built off of our labor, and that's why we need to get our reparations.
It's not so much about a one drop. Shout out to Ebony Dean educating us on this. It's about being able to link your lineage back to a point, whatever the year is, that shows that your great grandma and granddad were prisoners of war during chattel slavery. That's what we have to prove. So yeah, it don't matter if I'm 17% Irish or not. I still get my check.
Yeah, one person has to be full FBA, because we're going to have people that are pulling up their ancestry and all that, and their great. Somebody was doing it today online, talking about their great grandmother was FBA, but she's a whole white woman, So we're not doing that. We're not playing that game. You need to
It's
have
gonna be
one.
hard though. Listen,
No,
when you
it's
say,
not. It's easy.
listen,
It's
hold on, just hear me out with what I'm saying. I gotta prove that they're fully FBA. That means if that person's, say for example, they can link their mama back to slavery. We talk about from the parents' point of view. Say my parents, I linked my mama back, but she married a Jamaican. I'm still FBA, even though that's my mother's half.
Yeah, as long as one of the parents
it's your parents. So whoever your dad is and whoever your mom is, it's easier than we think. We were property back then. We're in the records for the slave records and all that. We were stocks. We were the bonds of this country. So it is all in the records. You can start with your ancestry. You can start looking up names. You can start looking up the states that your family's from. It's a very simple search. It will take a couple hours to do. Print off your paperwork before you decide to leave and go to another country, and give it to your parents or whatever you decide to do. But it is very easy for us to figure this out.
You ain't trolling, are you, man?
Hey, hold up. Shout out to Sister Ebony Dean. Shout out to Ebony Dean and my wife. Look, my wife was able to go back all the way to 1876. I ain't showing y'all the rest. There we go. The Beaners in Louisiana and Enola. My grandma's name was Arnola, but Enola, I guess, I don't know what's that. My great grandma. But shout out to Sister Emily Dean. Like, I love this stuff. Learning about our heritage and stuff. That's dope.
I just think it's gonna be a lot of people get paid that ain't the skin of our color. I'm just gonna say that.
I feel you.
That there won't, because we got FBI or FBA detectives on the case, and we're checking all hairlines and foreheads and all that. So we're gonna know who is FBA and who's not, and to figure it all out for sure, you have to have your paperwork.
Well, I'm just
let me ask you this.
Hold on.
Get in here real quick, E. I got a question, because we got, is somebody like, would Drake be considered FBA?
Yes.
No. And I'm gonna tell you why. You know why?
Yes. He's like us.
No. Wait.
We gotta talk about it.
I'm gonna tell you why. Drake's not FBA because Drake's dad is Jamaican, and his mom is a Jewish white woman. Now I don't know. So he's out.
Yeah.
But his mom
was from Memphis.
No. His dad's Jamaican. His dad is Jamaican, but I think they settled in Memphis, if I'm not mistaken, man.
His dad is American. Their ancestors from Jamaica. So half of his dad is FBA.
Wait a minute. I read his dad was from Jamaica. Is he originally from Memphis or not?
Heard, this is what I heard. I heard that his father is FBA, but his mother is Canadian. And I think the debate is he was born and he was raised in Canada.
Yeah.
That is the disconnect with it. But
yeah, he's not a U.S. citizen. He's not a U.S. citizen.
If it come down to blood, if he can trace his lineage.
Right. It's up for debate. It depends on what the absolute standard is gonna be.
So there's gonna be a board. Somebody gonna have a gavel. I can see him up there.
I think we shouldn't do that.
Dr. Umar gonna be in charge, and he get the final say.
We need at least Umar and Tariq Nasheed. Yeah, they
Tariq, but Umar gonna be in jail, man, after the school thing collapsed. He ain't gonna be able to do it.
I think we should write everybody. If it's questioned, because I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be discrimination if we let people start choosing who black enough. I'm telling you, just write the check. I don't care. Listen, write Drake the check, write Mr. Walker the check. I don't know why we trying to police people check. No, everybody
vote with Drake, man. Don't do that. I need my check guarantee. Check is
listen, the amount is fixed already. It's not like we're gonna get more or less, Mr. Walker. If it's a fixed amount that we getting regardless, write everybody who qualify. Because this is the thing that we're gonna ask. No. If they write this is the $1 million question. If they write the reparation check, do we not talk about reparations anymore?
Of course, it's a done deal.
Yeah,
y'all are crazy if y'all think black people gonna stop talking about reparations. Y'all are out of y'all mind. Listen, I'm telling you, you write $250,000, I can guarantee black people be talking about reparations literally 25 years from now.
Saying they wasn't enough.
I don't think
saying
so.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I can get on that crazy train. You said 25 years from I can see say, that $250,000 each wasn't enough. We blew through that.
I'm just telling you.
Well, here's the thing. People can say whatever they want to. The reason why it is a topic of conversation is because it hasn't gotten paid, okay? So we don't know what it's going to be because we haven't gotten it yet. So give us our check. We can get to that road whenever it's time to. We don't have the money yet, so we can't. We've never had it, so we can't even make determination.
Fact. And one thing you got to remember too, this is a debt that's owed. This isn't a favor. This isn't somebody like, oh yeah, maybe when I get some money, I'll give it to you. It is a debt that's owed. That's what we're dealing with here. But you got to keep that in mind.
Anytime you have a debt, you gotta hold a person or company accountable for the debt.
That's what we're doing. We're slow walking that down. Respectfully, this race is not organized. That's why the other groups were able to get it fast. In fact, what happened to Small Hats didn't happen in America, and they were able to get reparations many moons ago, man. So you have to keep that in mind. But that group is extremely organized, extremely.
And they're totally different. They have a U.S. military.
I asked AI.
I mean, they have a military.
I asked AI.
Hey,
Is Drake FBA?
But I want to talk.
Here's some
Drake
trivia.
FBA? And AI says no. Drake is generally not considered a foundational Black American, despite having an African American father, because FBA status involves deep cultural roots, lineage to U.S. slavery, and specific upbringing and historical Black American communities. So, see, there you go. I think this makes things more gray. Now to be FBA, you got to
write the check, Walker. Stop hating. Huh? You ain't got to have no upbreaking. You can be raised in it.
This is AI.
AI been lying to y'all. I told you, AI was the worst thing to happen, y'all, because y'all take it as the law. Listen,
hey, wait.
He's
wait,
not
wait.
technically.
Wait, I got some trivia.
Canadian citizen.
I got some Drake trivia.
Let me ask this real quick. Let me get real quick.
No, Gavin.
I asked AI about Jesus and it lied to me. I asked AI. I'm telling you, AI don't know what it's talking about.
So Drake's father is from Memphis. He played drums. His name is Dennis Graham. He is Larry Graham's brother. Yes. And do you know who Larry Graham is?
Famous musician.
Yeah, Walker he got a blank on his face. But anyway, Larry Graham played bass with Sly and the Family Stones.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So, even though he was born in Canada and his mother is an Ashkenazi Jew, so whatever the Graham's lineage is, what could possibly make him eligible.
All right, well, let me ask this. Here was the question, because are we filing up under the umbrella of FBA or descendants of slaves?
Same thing.
I don't know what that is.
Foundational Black American
or descendants
of slaves. Same thing.
You can call yourself.
Some of us weren't slaves.
Well, it's so easy now. So what would you get reparations for if your ancestors were not slaves?
The FBA, Foundation of Black American.
You got to prove it. See, that's what she was saying. She said you got to prove that someone was a descendant from slaves. Like, for example, our last name Williams. I'm 3 generations back from slavery. I know the grandfather that was slave, and then they went from slaves to sharecroppers to they had my grandfather. So I'm not that far away from slavery, right? So I understand it is easy to prove, but I'm just saying getting that white man called the government to write that check is because the court system is so chaotic in America, right? Even if they get it passed by the judge, the biggest thing is they also can appeal it. Like it's going to be a very chaotic process, and I don't think I would see it in my lifetime, but I hope my kids see it.
Yeah, it's really
not
not
draw
that.
It out, that's for sure. Okay?
Yeah,
because this argument that we even having right now is being held in the back rooms with the cigar smokers. Okay,
right.
Because they have Freemasons. There's a lot of Freemasons. Those people were never slaves. Okay, but they're indigenous to this country. All right, and some of their people were enslaved. So that's.
And here's what I'll say: the more they draw it out, the more they can muddy the waters. So if they keep that's why we sitting here having this Drake discussion. And 20 years from now, it's going to be the waters just keep getting more muddy if they allow it to draw out. Then we start asking, well, who is this? And is he? What about him? Because the people that should have got it years ago, it was clear cut who was who. But
and then a whole bunch of master kids gonna get this check.
Well,
because mama was a slave. Like, I'm just telling y'all the truth. A whole bunch of master kids gonna get in. Are we okay with them getting the check?
Yeah, like some of those former senators that had kids by some of their
there you go. So what's the one? Jefferson, one of these presidents say Hunter
Thomas Jefferson.
Well, I'm talking about even sooner than that, Mr. Walker.
Okay.
There's been people they passed away a number of years ago, but back in the 60s and 70s, these white senators and Congress people that's from the South had these black house servants that they were impregnating, and then that woman would have the daughter or the son of bright complexion and raised on that in that house in the separate quarters, but they would make sure that that individual was taken care of, and they would send them off to college. There's quite a few people out here like that. They're my age now, but they're out here like that.
But y'all know most of the half-breeds was actually indentured servants. White people was also indentured servants that was sleeping with the slaves, right? We think that most of it happened through what's grape? I guess I can use that word, grape.
Yep.
But most of it happened to especially the Irish. That's why Irish is in a lot of black people bloodline. They was indentured servants, and it was okay for a white indentured servant to have a relationship with a slave, and they got married. They did all those things, and that's a big big thing on the complexion of black people. By
I
the way,
talked about this, Eda, man. Shout out to the movie Sinners. That movie a lot more deeper than y'all think. Like, watch it again. I promise y'all the relationship between African Americans, FBA, and Irish, that's why they were trying to latch on to us. There was something there. Shout out to Jameson Whiskey. Back during Cooties 19, Jameson Whiskey ran a commercial where you had this handsome Irish guy sitting there talking about his heritage, and then they panned the camera to his wife. And his wife looked like Ebony Dean, a melanated sister holding a baby. And it's touching on that history, Eda, man.
Let me get you in, Ebony. I know you're trying to get in. What you got?
Yeah, I just was going to say, as far as the whole lineage thing, there will be people who are on that off to the side Drake type of line, and there will be somebody dealing with them. We're dealing with people who have their paperwork in order. You need to make sure that at least one of your parents, not grandparents, great grandparents, slave masters and all that, one of your direct parents is FBA, Foundational Black American. The reason why they came up with that term is because it can't be remixed or co-opted by any other group. You have to be from the lineage in order to qualify. So we can spend time talking about all the what ifs and everything. What if one of your parents was FBA? That's all that's needed. Everyone else to the side, and we'll figure you out at another time. This is for people who have their paperwork in order, and that's just what it is.
So is the payment gonna be by family? So can my mama get a check? I get a check. And my child get a check? So can 3 generations get checked, or they gonna try to limit it to families?
So it's $250,000 per person. So your mom would need to prove that one of her parents was at least one parent was FBA. You would need to prove that, and your child would need to prove it. Granny and great granny, if they're still alive, all need to prove it. This is 5-6 generations we're talking about here.
Well, think about it. I would say it wouldn't even be that complex because we would be able to share the same templates. All right. You know what I mean? If my grandma got something, obviously we connected. It ain't like we all individually got to do this homework. We got to do it collectively as a family, and we can all use the same template.
Right. And we were talking about this, a month ago or something. Mr. Walker started, and he already is into the 1800s with his people, despite some of the challenges that he had. All it takes is a search. This is not difficult. This is not rocket science, you guys. We've already defined who we are, and that is who is going to get reparations. They have already come up with reparations bills and things in Washington State, I know for sure, Illinois, Maryland. They had like a tether type of mayor or whatever that tried to veto the bill that they had, but it got overridden, and so they are now getting a reparations type thing. That's why we need to make sure that we have people representing us from the lineage, because there are people from different lineages that try to co-opt and try to come in and try to deny it. That's why we need to be in politics. California is one, and I think Illinois is another one. So individual states are already putting stuff together. I know in Washington State, our governor passed a bill last year. It's very specific. Each state is specific, and they want specific things. So it's a start.
You in my state, Ebony? You in my state? You in Washington State?
I'm in Washington.
Don't answer that. Don't tell him where you at.
I'm just saying, she in my state. This my
Either man right now dealing with a peeping Tom case he dealing with, so you don't want to.
Nah, you lying. You know,
I'm joking.
I'll speak up my name. I'm about to strike the channel right now. Hold on. Let me go sit in the strike. He lied on me.
Yeah, and
yes, y'all in the same state. Y'all up here worse.
yeah,
right
either man, I'm gonna need you to get on board because in Seattle, for Washington State, if you can prove that your family members were here, I believe it's before 1965, you can prove that they are giving out loans. It's not what we're asking for because we don't want a loan, we want money, but it's something. So
Get on board.
It's not.
Get
It's
on
not.
board, either man, for real, man.
I can't get it because I'm from Georgia. I'm not from here.
Yeah, I don't qualify either, but some
Yeah.
people do qualify, and it's going down. This is going to happen. So be on the lookout for the states that you were born in and where your people are from. It's going to happen. You know, it's small baby steps. It might be a loan today, but we're already talking and we're trying to get our money. So that's what it is. So either man from Washington, I need you to get on board.
There you go.
The funny part about it is Washington State was not a state doing slavery. What we're seeing is states that actually became states after slavery are like the front runners versus like Georgia, Alabama, the heart of slavery and the slavery belt. Those are the people who are rejecting it.
Right. And so the reason why they're giving the loans is for the people who suffered from the discrimination afterwards. Each state has their own type of bill and plan. So get familiar with it because it's something that is happening. So
and I would say
this is the thing. This is not just a pipe dream anymore. They're talking about it on a national level and states are talking about it. They're having the conversations. They're vetoing people who are trying to stop it because they know that there is a debt owed and they're trying to figure it out. So
but should this be a federal thing? Because it don't matter where y'all from. If you know what I mean, it shouldn't be a state thing. Don't matter where you travel to if you got lineage. You know what I mean?
That's
gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder on a federal level than a local level.
It won't be because look, they did it for the Holocaust people and they did it for the Japanese on a federal level. The Congress did it. They wrote the bill for it and cut the check. There was no, like I said, there was no survey that needed to be taken. They didn't need the states to do it. This was on a federal level. We're trying to do what we can. And if we're having, you know, big states like Washington and California having the conversation, that's just how all the marijuana and stuff got passed. It started on a state level and then it, you know, all the other states kind of picked up and, you know, we're kind of seeing the effects of it. We're doing what we have to do, but we're making it known that we are foundational Black Americans and the name cannot be co-opted by others. And on a national level, they're starting to understand that we are not just one big Negro. We have different parts of, you know, being Black. And so that's just what it is. And we're never going back to the way things were. This is who we are. And this is what we're coming to get. And that's just what it is.
Says that Black term has to go because people with our skin tone who are not us can easily latch on to it. Shout out to Ebony Dean. That by design, there is nothing Black about us. Calling yourself Black means that you're civilly dead by law. Sweet Jesus in the morning time. Okay. Yeah.
Well, the whole term Black and white, that's just a social construct, you know. That's not a race. It's just a typical name. And so that's why we're defining who we are and we have paperwork to back it up. So you can continue to call yourself African American or descendant of slaves, whatever you want to call. It's all about the lineage and all about that paperwork. So it's just a social construct because you know what? The people in Jamaica, they don't say I'm Black Jamaican. They just say I'm Jamaican. In Brazil, they don't say I'm Black Brazilian. They just say Brazilian. It's only in our country is when we say Black American because they don't do that in other countries. So it's just a social construct, but the lineage is what matters.
Like you said, since slavery, it was designed so they can let the poorest white man know you still got a leg up on them. All right, because the rich white man say, look, you ain't like us, but you is white and they is Black, so you still got a leg up in this society.
Right. Shout out to the poor Trump supporters. The wildest thing I ever seen in my life.
What you got, Richard?
Well, I just want to know, is there a time limit or something on this StreamYard? Because I cannot hear Mr. Walker or Ebony Dean when they talk.
Man.
So do I have to pay for services or something? Or?
No.
What you got, E?
I can't hear you.
Might know more than us.
He got to go out and go back in. So he got to completely go out, close it, then come back in. Then he'll better hear everybody.
Ugg say, y'all charging me to hear? Hey, Richard play. He said, y'all charging me to hear and talk. What's going on?
That sounds like something my grandpappy said. He said, you charging me?
Shout out to Richard. He might want to be our granddad.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
like I think you can call yourself what you want to call yourself. I think you got another super chat. But yeah, if you want to call yourself black, call yourself black. Like we ain't in no world where you can't call yourself what you want to call yourself. But we got to stop doing that. We got to stop comparing ourselves to other countries because we are different. They do what they do over there. We do what we do over here. And it is what it is.
What you got, Richard?
Can you hear us,
Okay.
OG?
Oh, there you go. I hear you, Mr. Walker. Say something, Ebony.
Hey, Rikai, can you hear me?
There you go. Okay, yeah. So,
and I did that one for free, by the way. I ain't gonna charge. I'm gonna charge you next time.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a super chat. So, hey, I got no more about this because what's this guy? What's his name? Either man? Who is this guy?
Either Man Williams.
Either man, yeah. He said a whole lot, and it makes sense to me. And I agree with what he said, especially when it comes to this Austin guy, because I think that's just a grift for him, like I say, to attract people to him so he can generate some money. Because, I think, you said something about working over there. They're not going to, man, come on. Unless I have a highly technical and advanced skill, they're not going to hire me. And then if they do hire me, I'm only going to be hired for a limited basis. Okay. So I'm not going to leave America with the expectations I'm going to move to some African country or some African nation and make a life for me and my family. That is not going to happen. And then something that Project Leroy put in the chat, which is very true, because I see that a lot with people in my industry, in my field, who come from other countries. And when we go work in other countries, they can only be over there for a limited amount of time. They have to leave and be gone for X amount of months before they can come back to continue to keep working. So, yeah, there's a lot. It sounds good on paper and it sounds good on YouTube, but when you start peeling back the layers of that onion, no. And if anybody in my family is thinking about doing that, I'm gonna tell them straight up, that's something you want to do for a trip. You're going for a visit, take a camera, take a lot of pictures. But if you're thinking about staying there, no. Okay, go get on the cruise ship and go get a taste of it. But I can't see that happening long term.
Yeah, we saw that in the state of Washington. We had a lot of people who was working remote. They would go to these countries and go to these third world countries until they said, "Hey, bring y'all butts back into the work," and then the plans start falling apart. So I think that unless you got that consistent income, and it does make sense. Like I have a friend, like I said, he done saved up $1 million. He gonna get 10% off his portfolio. He's in the Philippines. He gonna live like a champ. Yeah, I'm saying I know he is. So we know that it can, but you need to be at the end. That's why I said it's financial your financial end, not the beginning for a young man 20-some years old.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that, because if you're at the end and you get something coming in once or twice a month, or if you have some investments that you can live off on for an X amount of years and interest, and they can always grow money. Yeah, okay, it's feasible. If that's what you want to do, it's feasible. But you have to be ready for the unexpected. Okay, that's what most people are not telling. Okay, he's not giving that up. He's not going to tell you the ugly side because he's not going to make any money.
Especially if you're tricking. If you're tricking, I don't care if the trick costs you $15. $15 add up over 15 to 20 years. You're gonna be broke. Like I'm telling you, like the people going over there that spend money on women, they're gonna say a little bit more.
Yeah. Just like he left Brazil, he'll be leaving Kenya. Well, trust me, he'll be back in America within 5, maybe 6 years. Okay.
Well, it depends. Like I said, he's a unique situation because he do have a big YouTube channel with enough followers that he have the checks coming in. Like, if just think about it, in his situation, he making $3,000-$4,000 in super chats a month. He's doing okay in Kenya or Brazil or any of those things. He found a way to be able to use this digital world. But the key is he built that digital following before he started traveling. So see, people think, hey, I'm gonna go over there and then I'm gonna start a YouTube page. And people don't understand. It was good that he started his IPO in America because he still get American advertisement, even though he around the country. But if he would have started that in Kenya, it would have been like pennies on the dollar versus what he's making from an American YouTube page.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So that's all I got.
Appreciate you, Uncle Toll. Says, you can't tell me that young black man didn't look just like his daddy, Bill Clinton.
Shout out to Toll.
Money, 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 money.
Appreciate your Project Leroy. Says, once again, if you have one FBA parent whose lineage goes back before 1865 and you were born a U.S. citizen, you qualify for reparations. If you're not FBA and use a tether, stop getting in our way. Get yours from Carrie Calm. Who the heck is Carrie Calm?
Okay. Shout out to Pride. Go. What you got, Ebony?
Yeah, CARICOM, that's the with the Caribbeans, and that's their like little reparation task force or whatever. Am I right, Project Leroy? That's where they can go through to get their reparations from Britain and all that. So they have their own that we can't be a part of. That's why y'all can't be a part of what we got going on here. Since we can't be a part of CARICOM, we got our own things going on. So
see what they got these little places. Why? Shout out to you. I mean, then you said something earlier. You said reparations office. That made me laugh, like the welfare office. They need to start establishing a reparations office, like they got welfare offices around here. I'm tired of where we always got to go see the international courts and ish.
It's gonna be inside of the welfare office. They're gonna give him a desk. I'm just letting you know. If it's an office, they're gonna say, "Hey man, y'all better go over there in the corner." And it's gonna be black flag. We're gonna have our flag in the welfare.
Listen, it's gonna be wherever they're gonna set it up at, and that's where we will be to get our money. I don't care where it is.
I'm sure is. I'm gonna be right there. Like, hey, check this out. I knew I was gonna be here before the end of my days in this welfare office.
They're gonna have little elementary school seats with the attached desk that we got to sit in. They're gonna make it very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you better make sure that you have a name tag on one of them desks, or you don't get to come get your reparations check. So get your paperwork in order so that you can sign up for that reparations course and get a desk. So you can get money.
But I'm telling you, the tethers, they gonna figure it out. I can see the Nigerians already forging paperwork. They getting they forging paperwork like scammers. Like, call me, man. I got you. I forged the paperwork for you.
Look at my family tree. Look at my family tree. I got it here.
Yeah, they're already getting sent back. So we're already getting them up out the paint already right now. So we're not worried about that. We're worried about our lineage and what we have going on here. And it is something that is okay to do. We don't have to be just caping for everybody and forgetting about ourselves all the time. We've been doing that since the 50s and 60s. You know, when they came up with the benign neglect policy, where what they did was whenever they were promising us our rights and stuff while we were fighting for civil rights and everything, well, they promised us that they were going to give us our rights and didn't do it. And that's why all the riots and stuff broke out in all the major cities in this country, because we were turning up all over the place and we were rioting and we were, pissed about them not, bringing forth their promises that they promised to us. So what they did was they didn't understand why are they all turning up right now? And they figured out that it was, because of racism, but they were like, look, we've been racist to them for the last 200 years. Why are they turning up now? And they realized they did it was called like a Kerner report or a Kerner committee or whatever. They did the research and figured out that whenever they tell us that they're going to do something specifically for us and they don't do it, then that's when we get mad and that's when we turn up. So what did they do? They came up with the benign neglect policy, and I think it was created by a guy named Monahan or Mullahan or something like that. Y'all can Google it to figure it out. But basically it was, they are to always talk around us. So when they talk about things for Black people, it's everything's all inclusive now. It's all lives matter and Black and brown coalitions. So they never directly promised us anything because they knew if they did and they didn't do anything about it, then we were going to act up again. So they're always walking around us. That's why we have decided to delineate. We've decided to define who we are. And Dr. Claude Anderson's been telling us to do this for the longest time. It's like we have to define who we are so that nobody can infiltrate what we have going on.
I do want to have, I want to have a conversation. So say we go to, they say, for example, it take a 5 or 10 year period for us to get paid. What do you think Black people as a whole 50 to 100 years would be after reparations?
Well, here's what it is. The same thing that the Japanese and the Holocaust people did with their money after the 50 years that they got their money, because they got theirs in the 80s or something like that. 50 years has already gone by and they're doing just fine, just like we will.
No. So you think we would move like Japanese and Jewish people?
I think the biggest problem for our culture and for foundational Black Americans is because of economic deprivation and being deprived resources. And that's why there's a lot of problems in our community. Once we have, I'm not going to say it's going to solve all of our problems, but we're going to figure a whole bunch of stuff out. You have a family of 5 and everybody's FBA. That's a million, you know, a couple million coming or whatever, or 1.25, whatever it ends up being. That's enough money to figure some ish out. So
here you go, E. So I agree. Like, yeah, I don't believe we are going to be able to make as much progress as the small hats and ages, perhaps, because of the different systematic bullish we got going on with our people. There's going to be, even with, you know, a household getting $1 million, 1.25 million, there's still going to be casualties. They are going to swindle it. There are going to be those examples. Granted, Dave Chappelle made a skit about it. However, there's enough of us, and that's on them now. Like, come on, like, we got $250,000 a piece. If you fall to the wayside, come on, that's on you. So yeah.
Well, I think just Mr. Walker, I went to school for accounting. I have studied tax codes, right? I understand how the government works. I believe 95% would be sucked up in Texas.
Well, it should be untaxed. That's got to be part of
it. It doesn't matter. Listen, I'm telling you, they don't have to tax the money for them to get it in taxes.
So did they tax? Did they tax the Japanese and the Jews?
Yes,
okay,
they got it all back.
Listen, we'll figure all that stuff out. But they need to run us our reparations. We'll look into
it. But we agree upon it.
If I got $250,000 and there's no, how you about to get this back?
Easy. So first thing is, let's just say you put it in the house, right?
Yeah.
You buy a house. The $250,000 is gone, and then the government's going to say, "Hey, you don't really own that house. We just loaned you that house. We going to charge you taxes until you can't pay for the house, and then we're just going to take your $250,000 back."
Well, those taxes are no. Well, here we go. If again, brother E, if you go out here and you take your $250,000, you put the whole $250,000 on the house you can't afford, well, that's on you. But if you take 50,000 and you go ahead and buy you some acres, now what? Now you still got to pay taxes. You still got to pay taxes.
When you gonna get 50,000? No, this will tell you. Okay, like in the state of Washington, the average house is 450,000 ish, right? Like
yeah, not
the average land is the average land in the state of Washington is 185,000. That's nothing on it. But let's be clear, it's expensive in Washington.
People will have to come together. It will have to be a group thing. It's not going to be individual.
That's what have to happen. We have to.
Asians. We will have to
have a Chinatown. That's the only way it works.
Every person will have to commit to donating 15% of your reparations to our pot. And with this pot, we're going to buy land. We're going to start building hospitals, all that good stuff. With everybody put $15,000 of your reparations into this pot. Every one of us. That's going to be billions of dollars. And with that money, we get the smartest people involved, like the Edomans. We're going to get all our accountants, and y'all going to make sure we don't go broke, E.
Do your job,
Well, no,
make sure we don't swindle our
well,
daggone money.
Well, I don't think the people should get it. That's kind of the conversation I said. So I watch like the Indians, for example. The Indians, they took all the reparation money, they invested in casinos, and then the casino give dividends to every descendant going forward, right? It's something that oh, go ahead, Ebony.
The Native Americans are balling, okay? They got casinos, they have all this money. They get tens of 20s of thousands of dollars every single month. Whatever they decide to do with their money is on them. Whatever we decide to do with our money is on us. I don't need to prove to anybody what I'm going to do with my money because it is owed to me for a debt that is paid. They don't police what those natives do. They didn't police what the Holocaust victims did, and they didn't police what the Japanese did. So they're not going to be policing us. Enough of us are on code to make some real moves, and that's just what it's going to be. Are there going to be some people on the way fall by the wayside?
I want to have the conversation. Listen, we all agree.
Let me ask you this. Do we not have the advantage of having hindsight and all these cautionary tales in order to formulate a plan?
No. I get what you're saying. I listen. I know I could be the bad guy, and I want to make sure Miss Ebony know I agree. They need to run the check because she keep going back. We gotta get the check first. Absolutely, but I think we gotta start having these conversations of what's next. Because if we give a whole bunch of people who's not educated the money, they will get the money back in a short period of time. That's just how it works.
Agree. That's gonna what we gonna do with now?
So that's why I said, how about we have, because even if you look at like the companies that kind of made their like the four, so you see all these companies that have made it 10 generations down or 5 generations down, it had to be some kind of trust. It had to be something that continue to pay the next generation, because we all gonna have an idiot. We're gonna have a crackhead son. We're gonna have a dope head auntie.
That's that 15,000 we all gonna put in the pot. We're gonna put it into a stock market, money markets. You gonna figure out where we put this money to keep growing forever, and we use just enough to build what we need to build.
And then so we see this right now in the state of Washington. They have a foreclosure fund, right? And so what they learned during COVID is they said, let's start this foreclosure. Every new house that's sold in the state of Washington, every new person had to pay a foreclosure fund, and they build this in like an interest-bearing account. So if anybody goes into foreclosure, quote unquote, you have a fund for the state to help pay to bail you out for bad decisions. I'm just saying that that's kind of got, and we need to give them the money. I'm not saying that we don't give them nothing, but I think dividend payments over a period of time. And I do think that it should be restricted in some type of way. Now, I know that people don't like it. People want to do what they want to do with the money.
Yeah, I hear you, but the net of it, it's a debt owed. I think that's the net of it. And then at that point, we can't police what people do. If I owe you $100 because you loan me $100, I can't tell you what to do once I hand you that $100 back. Say, make sure you go pay your phone bill with it, or
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We want to talk about what happened with every other group. They didn't give it to the individual people. The Japanese didn't give it to the individual. The Holocaust was the individual. They gave it to an organization. Even the Native Americans, they didn't give it to individuals. They gave it to the entity of the.
Is unique, so it's going to be a unique set of circumstances.
Right. We have look. Our stuff is not the same as other people. We have a direct grievance with this country, and there is a debt that needs to be paid. We can financially educate ourselves or whatever. A lot of people are on code, and nobody polices what anybody else does. So you're not going to start here with us. Everybody can start thinking about what you want to do with your money. Start looking into the taxes and all that. We're going to do what we need to do in order to make this happen. And that's just
not
what it's going to be.
You keep saying that nobody else get policed, and I'm telling you, the Native Americans was policed by their tribe. Their tribe policed them. That's what I'm saying. Like, we got to have an organization that has some type of structure. We can't just let everybody do what they want to do.
So
even the Japanese.
I done said it about 3 times. We got to start organization. Every person that received reparations, you got to be a part of this, and you got to donate to it. And this is how we're going to build the grocery stores. When you go into Asian towns and stuff, this is how they built their stuff. Group economics. Everybody put in, and you ain't sitting there like, all right, if I put in 15,000, am I going to get the key to the grocery store? Am I going to be able to own the hospital? No, but you're going to be able to take pride and keep it clean and take personal ownership. All of us going to take ownership. It's our stuff. So it's a different way of thinking.
Right. And again, I actually know some natives, and they do whatever the hell they want to do with that check that they get every month. And their kids get money too. They're getting tens of thousands of dollars every single month just for being native.
Exactly, but it's coming from the tribe. The
Okay,
money went to
okay.
the
Well, ours is going to come from the FBA tribe, and then they're going to
exactly.
fly us
Okay,
our money.
so I think the
Whatever.
money, the $25 trillion need to go to the FBA fund, not the individual. It's not going into the food stamp place applying and giving your check. That's not how it works, right? Then
However, it needs to be set up. Just run me my 250 and the 250 for my family members, and that's fine. We can have the FBA tribal whatever center or whatever. Whatever makes everybody feel better. The money is still going to be cut to us, and we can decide what we do with our money.
cool. And then that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the government run this tribe. I'm saying that we have to elect some elders, FBA elders, who's going to dictate this. Do you know something that nobody talks about with the Native Americans? They didn't distribute no money for the first 15 to 20 years. It was mostly invested in the things. And then what I love about the Native American is they loan their own people. I have a friend that's Native American. He got a 1% loan for a house. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Like, if we really understand the infrastructure where we can give out our own loans, we can give out our own school grants, we can completely use the money to build FBA for the future. I just think it's a conversation worth having.
Run us our money. We can figure all that stuff out. I don't want loans and stuff, because you know what? When these companies were built off of our ancestors' back, they didn't get a loan. They got money and started these companies that's been running for hundreds of years. So give me my money and we'll figure the rest out.
No, I'm not saying the government loan us.
Schools. We don't want any of that. We can build our own houses and we can do our own thing. This can
I'm not
be
saying
done
the government loan us. Listen, hold on. I'm not saying the government loan us this.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the FBA tribe start loaning the money back. Imagine if we was instead of me going to Wells Fargo, it was an FBA building I can go to and say, hey, let me get a 1% loan on this home or this property that I'm getting. Like, I'm telling you, for us to be able to make this go 50, 100 years, we just have to have a strategy other than just pay us.
Now,
that's all I'm saying.
I feel you. I don't see anything wrong. I like the logic. However, again, like you want this to go 50 years for you want everybody to win. That's right. That's what that sounds like. You want everybody to win. You want an organization so everybody wins. I don't see that. Folks are going to lose. Folks are going to swindle that money. It is what it is. I like the thought process, but no. First, we got to get organized, and then ninjas got to trust other ninjas with their money. It ain't happening. It just ain't. That's gonna make. I think that makes things even more muddier. I like the logic, but it just sounds so far-fetched.
Well, the thing is, you keep bringing up the natives, and like I said, you can't even compare it just from the number standpoint. We 43 million deep. All right. I mean, the natives was what they pay 50,000 people, so it was easier to keep track of this stuff. It's not just like say I get what you're saying, E. All right, we're gonna go around, start getting final thoughts. I'll let you get in, but I hear what you're saying.
Good stuff, E. Good stuff, man. I like that thought process. I like you thinking but man, I'm thinking ninjas, man. Like you making it too complex. It's too much already going on. We already got a hard time identifying who we are. Now we got to organize. That's the biggest if. Melanated folks organizing. If we could conquer that, then we good to go. If we could organize, we almost don't need reparations because we can organize. But yeah, fat chance.
Yeah, so it's easier to get 50,000 or so people on the same page than it is 43 million. But I hear you. What you got, E? Go ahead.
Yeah, just final thoughts, right? You said, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I just think that I just studied the white man system. I understand how they get over it. Like I just the biggest thing is these checks still had to be spent or managed in this white world. And I think that's kind of conversation that I know is tough. I know it feel like that, people who have studied these things are trying to micromanage. It can come off as micromanaging funds. But I'm just saying, for us to really make change in the FBA community, we have to find a way how we can go 10 to 15 generations deep. And I don't think as individuals we can do that. So great conversation.
That's true, E. Again, I can't make sense say you say anything wrong. You're right. However, like I said, we having a hard time getting it in our hands. Now we're talking about we got to start organization, get it from the government to our organization, and then we're gonna hold on to it for another 20 years, like you said, the Native Americans did to distribute it. That's delayed gratification. We cover this stuff at every show. It's a lot of things, a lot of X factors that I don't think we're gonna be able to do.
Who in charge of the funds? The black church? All right, people are going to be skimming money. You can't just put that money and say, who in charge of it for these 20 years that we can trust?
We in bad shape. We just are as a community, and it just messed up. But I think we just start off the way I see it, just cut them checks. Whoever is not educated enough and they fall to the wayside, that's on them. But the educated people, there you go. Make it an option. The educated people, we can come together and we can put our bread in there. I'd like the idea, but you're not about to get Pookie Nug in the hood. Ain't gonna happen. Just ain't. It ain't. And there's a lot of them. Shout out to Project Leroy. Appreciate you. Says the Native Americans also scalped those who went against the collective and tried to sabotage the group. Either man, take 5 minutes and think this over. Shout out to E.
Yeah, I know you wanted to get another word in, but Project Leroy dropped the bomb.